Okay, so in the last class we talked about the inheritance concept in oo3. We have seen how to represent the classes in inheritance hierarchy using UML notation. We have seen the advantages of using returning parameter over exporting parameter, as well as the limitation about that. Then we saw the constructor of a class, which is basically used to initialize the variable of the class, as well as we have seen how we can make use of constructor to pass the parameters to initialize the variables. So in today's class, we will see the problem which we face in inheritance. But before that, there is a question. Let me answer that question. One of you has posted a question in the chat box regarding what are all the types of inheritance we have. So let me take that question first. Okay. What are all the types of inheritance we have in the OOPS? So object-oriented programming is not a concept of ABAP. It's a generic concept which is used throughout the industry, throughout the software industry, across all the developers. So there are different types of inheritances which are possible. So let me talk about them one by one. So I will represent a class by a block like this. So let's say there is a class A and there is a class B. So class B is inheriting the properties from class A, like this. So here one class is inheriting property from other class. So this is called a single level inheritance. Single level. Then we have another case where we have one class being inherited by two classes. Okay, if I put it like this. So I have class B and C which are inheriting the methods and attributes from class A. This type of inheritance is called as hierarchical. Hierarchical inheritance. Because it's a hierarchy, you can see a hierarchy has been made. Then we have another setup which is kind of opposite to this, where I have two classes being inherited in single class. So my class C is actually inheriting from class A and B. This is called multiple inheritance. So what two classes are inherited in one single class is called multiple inheritance. And then we have another setup. This is a very important interview question. What are all the types of inheritances we have in the OOPS ABAP, or in the OOPS actually? I'm saying about OOPS, not OOPS ABAP. So where class B is inheriting A and C is inheriting B, then this is called multi-level inheritance. You have different levels here. Okay. And then finally we have another inheritance called hybrid inheritance. So where class A is inherited in B and C, and then further I have a class D which is inheriting from B and C. It's a combination of multiple and hierarchical, like this. This type of inheritance is called as hybrid inheritance. So these are all the different types of inheritance which we have in object-oriented programming. Now, can any one of you tell me which is the type of inheritance not supported by oops abap? Means we cannot achieve the inheritance in oops abap. Which type of out of these cannot be achieved in oops abap?
Multiple. It will support multi-level.
It will support multi-level, very good. It will support hierarchical. Abhijit has given the right answer. Multiple is not supported. Why? Because
You are asking which one is not supported.
yes, I'm saying which is not supported.
Okay.
Because if you come to the class and open the class, let me open the class which we have created yesterday. I go to the properties and I'll show you here that I don't have an option to specify more than one classes.
Okay. Then
Just
hybrid
one
also.
specify.
Then hybrid also it won't support.
Hybrid also it won't support. Exactly, because in hybrid, in order to achieve this, you need to have D, which is inheriting from these two.
Yeah.
So these two types of inheritances are not supported by oops abap. Same thing applies for Java also. If you guys have worked in Java, which is also one of the best programming techniques in the world of software, it's pure oops abap based. There also it is not supported. But definitely there is a workaround for this. We will discuss about that workaround in today's class. So you will actually understand how we can achieve it by a workaround. That workaround we'll discuss. So are the types of inheritance clear to all of you, first of all? Okay. Any questions on this so far? Types of inheritance. No
Okay.
question.
This multi-level and multiple, like both are same. Both are
No.
same.
You see, multiple is where one class is inheriting two classes.
No. Finally, we will get the same result, or
You will not get the same result. Let's say I have a protected attribute in class A and B. So both the protected attributes will directly come to C because C is the child class, right?
okay.
But if I have a protected attribute in A and B here, only these protected attribute will come to C because
Okay.
A is having a protected attribute that will not come to C.
Okay. Got it.
Also, as far as the hierarchy is concerned, it is different. You can see the complete difference between all three of them. There are three different levels, but here one class is inheriting two classes together.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question, Ravi?
Yeah. I got it. Like if protected concept is not there, then both are same.
Yes, there are other differences actually. Those differences are about the virtual function. It's actually a C++ concept, virtual function. I can have two functions here with the same name, okay, in
Okay.
both these classes,
Okay.
okay, and both the functions got inherited to C.
Mm-hmm.
But here, if you have two functions with the same name, already the function is inherited to the B class, which is there in the A with the same name, right? Let me
Yeah.
show it. Let's say I have a function here called add. Now, same name function I have in this class also, class number A. So there are two functions which are inheriting to C. So C will get confused which is the right one. You understood?
Yeah. Yeah.
But here there is no confusion. What happens is if you have a function A in A class, it same gets automatically inherited to B. You don't need to define the add function again to B, right? It gets inherited automatically to B because B is the subclass of A.
Yeah.
So in same function, you can actually enhance the functionality, which is called function redefinition. And then The same function can be inherited in the C, which can further enhance the functionality as per the need. So the way inheritance is happening is a very big difference when it comes to functions and attributes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'll talk about another topic which is called typecasting. Let me put the topic across, typecasting. What is typecasting? Can anybody tell me, in C programming, have you done typecasting? Or have you heard about typecasting? What is typecasting?
Yeah, changing one type to another type. Yeah.
Very good. Very simple and neat and clean definition. Okay. Technically, if I would say typecasting is nothing but assigning assignment of one object to another object. That's called typecasting. Assignment of one object to another object is known as typecasting in any technology you see. What is the need of typecasting? Why we use typecasting? Anybody? Why we use typecasting?
Actually, sometimes if you are assigning one variable to another variable, it won't support. We have to convert into
Yes,
float or into
to
integer.
support compatibility issues.
Yeah.
We do typecasting. I'll take an example. Let's say I have a bucket here. Okay. So let's say I have a bucket here, or I have a cylinder here. Now I have a balloon with me. This is my balloon. And now I pump in some air into the balloon. And when I try to put the balloon in the cylinder, it's not fitting. What I will do? I will somehow try to suppress it and try to make it fit in the cylinder. So what exactly I did here is a typecasting. I typecasted the balloon to the cylinder. That's exactly typecasting does. It allows you to support compatibility issues. Any questions? What is
No.
typecasting?
No.
Okay. So same thing we'll do in ABAP and OOPS ABAP. So in ABAP, what we usually do, we just assign one object to another. So like I have a variable here, data. Okay. In OOPS ABAP, I'll tell you, typecasting is always in terms of objects. We assign one object to another object. That's typecasting. Okay, so let me tell you an example. Let's say I have two classes. One is base class, one is the child class. So the classes are arranged like in inheritance hierarchy already. I have a class A, let's say plain class. And then I have a class which is a child class called passenger class. Okay. Now in the plain class, I do have a method here. Let's say flight. The same method gets inherited to my passenger plane class when I need. Or I have a, let's say, method called load. In this load method, what I've written is write pilots boarded. So whenever the loading starts, first the staff or the crew of the flight comes into the picture. They will go and sit into the flight. This is the functionality of my load method here in the plain class. Now what happens is, what I do is, actually I have inherited this method here, load method, and what I do here is I just call the super class method first of all, super load, which actually loads the crew to the flight, and then I say passengers are boarding. That's my functionality of load method in the child class. Now I obtained the object of child class. Okay. So what I did is I declared both the objects, data, local object of base class, which is nothing but type ref to my plain class, zcl underscore plain. And then I have an object for child class, hello child, which is my type ref to of passenger plane. Now I just say create object for child class. I created the child class object, which is nothing but passenger class object. Have I created the main plane class object? No, I haven't created. I just declared it. Okay. Now I say hello underscore child, call the load method. What will happen? Who will tell me what will be the result printed?
Pilots are boarded and passengers.
Pilots boarded.
Absolutely correct. You all are right. I will get both the lines printed on the screen. But now my requirement is, I want to just board the pilots or the crew of the plane. I don't want passengers. But I don't have the object of base class with me. It is just declared, but I don't have it with me. What I can do in such case? I can assign the child class object to the base class and then call the load method using this base class object. Let me show you how to assign. So I say hello underscore base is equals to hello underscore child, as simple as that. This is called typecasting. In this case, what I did, I assigned the child class object to base class. Okay. This type of typecasting is called as narrowing cast. Why narrowing cast? Because your functionality got narrowed. Earlier, when you were calling load, you were printing two statements. But now when you are calling load, you are getting only one statement. Your functionality got narrowed when you assigned it. You're moving from more functionality to less functionality. So now I can use the base class object, which I was not having it. Since typecasting is done, I've got the object now, and I can call the load. So when I print this, it will just print pilot boarded. Understood this part? What is narrowing cast? Why we do it? Now you may ask me, Adubhav, we can actually create the object of base class and call the method. We can do that. Yes, you are right. You can actually do that. But if you see literally in real time world, when you have a program, you have thousands of objects. Okay. And if you create every object, it will allocate objects memories. So much of memory you have created actually to call the method. But you don't want to waste the memory. So what you do, just create the child class object, assign it to the base class, and call the method using assignment. So here the memory is created only for passenger plane class, not for plane class. But still you, with the same memory, you are managed or you are able to call the method of base class. Understood the advantage here? Why we do typecasting? Guys, understood? Any questions?
Yeah.
Okay. So That is about my narrowing cast, where we assign a child class object to the base class. Coming to the next part, where I will show you an opposite process. What would be an opposite process of this? Can anybody tell me?
Create the base class and assign the child class.
Super, very good. If I will get a base, I have a base class object. I don't have the child class object. So if I assign the base class object to child class, that's called widening cast. And the process will look like hello child is equals question mark equals to hello base. So whenever you're doing widening cast, you need to tell ABAP clearly that I am assigning base to the child. And that you tell by doing this, question mark equals to. This is called widening cast. Okay. Any questions here?
Like in widening cast, suppose this one is partially created object.
Yes.
Suppose if I have some second method in the passenger plane, if you are trying to access that one, what happens? It will give a
It
dump.
will dump. It will actually
Okay.
dump. So let's say if I have a
Okay.
specific method, let's say seat assignment. Now I assign my base class object to the child class, and using this I am calling the method seat assignment. Let's see what happens in the system.
But what is the advantage of
Very good.
this
I am coming
widening?
to that. I am coming to that. I am coming to that.
Okay.
Let me first show you what it obtains as a what
Yeah.
result is yielded out of it. You will first observe that. So here we had our base class called plane class, right? So hello underscore plane, type f2, zcl underscore clear plane. That was my base class. So create now the object of base class. Let's comment out this code, or let's keep this code as it is right now. Create the object of base class. Now I will assign hello passenger is question mark equals to my base class object, and we have a load method in the passenger, right? That's a specific method which is not there in base. I say load.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see what happens now, whether it will really call the load method. It dumps. Move cast error. Okay. First of all, it dumped at, I think, a different place. Let's see the place where it dumped. Let's understand the issue where it dumped. You can see it is not even assigning only.
Yeah.
So that voids what I taught you here, right? I taught you that you assign base class object to child class. That's what I taught you. That itself got voided, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How does that assignment actually happens? The assignment actually happens in a way that earlier you had one more passenger object with you, like this. Okay. And you created that object as one. I think I have a constructor parameter, so I need to even pass the value of that parameter, which was nothing but exporting my char ID. Let's say American Airlines. Now I did a typecasting, first of all, the narrowing cast to the plane class, passenger plane. Sorry, the plane, main plane class. I did a narrowing cast. I don't need to create the base class object. Then I assign this base class object, which is containing my subclass object, to the another subclass object. So I have not created hello passenger, I just created pass1. So system In this, I have assigned this object to the base class and from base to again child, and then I'm calling load. So this type of typecasting will work in terms of mirroring cast. So now you must be getting the result. See, we have got the result now. If you understood how actually it happens, a base class is a very big container which can contain object of any of the subclass actually. So when your base class is containing object of any subclass, you can actually do the narrowing cast. That's a you can do widening cast. That's a condition for widening cast. Your base class object should contain the object of same class, same child class. Then only you can do the widening cast. Does that answer your question, Ravi?
Yeah.
Ravi, does that answer your question? When we can actually do it? What is the limitation with this?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
You're muted, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I can't hear you. You can type in the chat box. But still, it does not answer your question about the practical scenario. What is the use of it then? I will come to use of it now. There I'll show you how to solve this problem. So this takes me, after understanding this concept, takes me back to the concept where we were learning inheritance yesterday. Let me show you that. So we were seeing that as many number of methods will increase in the classes, those many if conditions will jump in. And if I have 200 methods, I have to write 200 if conditions plus one for instantiation and assignment. Now, if I have 5 programs, I have to write total 1005 if conditions. So if a new plane comes in, I am actually going to modify all these if conditions, which is not a suitable solution which is not a good design. It's not a good practice as well. So what we can do to solve this problem is to use interface. So let me type what is an interface, the definition first of all, which will actually help you to, answer in the interview what is an interface. Interface is a pure abstract class, or let me put it in simple words. Interface is a template which will only contain method definitions, not implementation. It's a contract. Interface, it's a contract between caller and consumer. Sorry, caller, consumer, both are saying caller and called party. First of all, let me take an example of a real world example of an interface. In your laptop or in your desktop computers, we use USB. What is a USB port? It's an interface. What is the rule of USB? The USB rule is that you need to comply with USB 2.0 guidelines, which says the port size will be this much, hardware size should be this much. The cable which you get with your any hardware, mouse, laptop, keyboard, your cell phone, smartphones, printers, floaters, light pen, any device you want to connect with the PC, you need to comply to the interface. Your port should be USB port. That's an interface. Then you can connect any device with your PC. That's an interface actually. Best example of an interface. So anybody can come, connect and adapt themselves. That's the power of interface. It will not contain any implementation of methods. only the definition of methods will be contained in this. You can't write the code inside interface. It's just a template which contains the method definition. Let's see how does the interface will solve my problem. So together with interface and abstract and the concept of typecasting, I'll solve the problem. So what I'll do, I'll create a plain interface first of all. And we had a load method yesterday that we will put in the interface now, rather in the class. And then we will inherit this interface in our classes. Like this. This is how we inherit to the passenger and cargo, the interface methods. And then we'll write the code inside this. So that will solve my problem. Let me show you. So let's go back and create the interface first of all. The naming convention we use for interface is ZIF for custom interfaces. IF stands for interface. So let's go and do that. Say ZIF underscore airplane. Click on create. The airplane class. Come here and put the load method. So my interface will never ever contain the code of any method. If I double click, nothing will happen. I can't write the code. Let's activate this. So can you guys tell me here one simple answer? If you see this diagram, do you remember something? Yesterday only we did something like this. What is this phenomena called? What are you doing here? Anybody wake up?
Yeah, I think we are implementing
What
the
is this phenomena
method.
called? Am I audible, guys?
Yeah, yeah. Hello.
What is this phenomena called? This is nothing but inheritance, right? You have a base class and then you have child classes. This is inheritance, ultimately. So, I go here, activate my interface, come back. Now I'll create new classes, okay? So that you will not get confused. So I'll say ZCL airplane underscore pass for passenger plane. Click on create. Go to the interface tab. Can you see I can specify multiple interfaces here, first of all. Does this click something to you?
Yeah.
Can anybody guess what I'm trying to come to?
If we are replicating multiple, we can do hybrid there.
Yes. First advantage, one of the most powerful advantage, which people will definitely ask in interview. What is the advantage of interface? After you tell the definition, they will ask what is the advantage. First advantage is we can achieve multiple inheritance using interface. That's what we can actually achieve with the help of interface. You can actually observe that multiple interfaces I can assign to a class. Second advantage, we can simplify program, which I will show you now. Since it's a base class can contain object of any of the child classes, right? whether it is passenger or cargo. It's a base class. It can contain object of any of these two classes. That's the power, right? It's a base class. So I come here, first of all, add my interface here. I go to the methods and you can see my load method have come. Double click on this and put the code. Right? Passengers are boarding. Now I also show you how to copy a class. So I'll copy this class to cargo plane class. I say carg. Okay. The system will make a copy of the plane class, passenger plane class, put the interface also here automatically to the cargo plane because it's a copy. I can just go and change my method code. So I say let it be. Okay. Same thing. Yesterday, whatever we did, same thing we did here. But now the method is present in the interface, not in the classes. Did you understood the difference between yesterday's and today's load method? Any question till here? Now I come to the program. Watch here carefully what I do. Declare the object data for interface. So hello interface. Type ref to ZIF airplane. Hello passenger plane class. Type ref to ZCL airplane pass. Hello cargo plane, which is my new class for cargo plane. Type ref to ZCL airplane carg. Create a parameter for plane type C. Now put a if condition. Plane type is equals to passenger plane else mix. So create the object of hello underscore passenger plane or create the object of hello underscore cargo plane. After you create the passenger plane object, can anybody tell me which is the symbol I use to assign base class, child class object to base class? Just now I taught you.
Equal to.
No.
You are assigning base class to child class?
See, yes.
Oh, base class to child class. Okay.
This is the one. But if I want to assign child to base, this is the one. Simple equal to
okay.
absolute, right?
Okay.
So here, can you tell me what I want to assign to what? I've got an object of which class here? In the program, I've got an object of which class? Is this a child or base?
Oh, yeah. It's a base only, no?
It's a child class, right? See, interface is your base class. That's your interface. And then we created two classes using the interface. We are inheriting the interface into two classes. That's your passenger plane class, that's your cargo plane class. So you got an object of passenger plane class. I want to assign it to interface. So what is the interface here, base class or child class?
Interface is base class.
Yes. So simple equal to will work, right?
Yeah.
That's what I do now. So I say hello underscore interface is equals to hello underscore pass. The beauty is interface is acting like a base class. So it can contain any object at any point of time. It can contain cargo also. It can contain passenger Now, after the assignment is done, I just say load. I don't need to put a if condition. Why I don't need to put a if condition? Can anybody explain?
Because already when you are creating, you assign
I
object.
have assigned it, yes. So when you run this program at runtime, system will see what object is contained inside this interface. Based on that, it will call your method. So you avoided the if condition here, and all the 500 methods which you will call from now on, you avoided that if condition. Do you see an advantage here or disadvantage? As compared to the last approach? The
Yeah, it's
advantage,
advantage.
right?
It's advantage. Yeah.
So I have avoided
It's
all my
advantage.
if conditions now. Can anybody tell me what this concept is called in OOPS? You will get a gift for sure. If you tell me what is this concept called in OOPS above or in OOPS in general. Okay. This is called runtime polymorphism.
Oh yeah, polymorphism. Yeah.
What is polymorphism? Polymorphism is a word which is made up of two words, poly plus morphism. Poly means many, morphism means forms.
Yeah.
Here you have a load method which is having different forms. In the passenger plane class, it is acting differently. In the cargo plane class, it is acting differently. It is having many forms. And at runtime, when you run your program, your interface will decide which implementation to call. Did you guys understood what is runtime polymorphism? Very important interview question. Runtime polymorphism. At runtime, your application, your program will decide. When you type the plain type, it will decide which class to assign to the interface. And then whichever class is assigned to the interface, it will call the load of that class. So we saw here three important concepts. Inheritance using interface. We saw runtime polymorphism. We saw typecasting. And of course, interface, which is the primary concept. When we will go to WebIntro back, everywhere we use interfaces. It's very hard to see that we are using classes anywhere in WebIntro. That's why I covered this concept. It's very important for you to understand why we use interfaces. Two main reasons. It allows you to do multiple inheritance. Second is it simplifies your program. Or you can say it allows runtime polymorphism. Guys, it's a very interesting topic and a very, very powerful concept, interface. And these two, because of these two reasons, everywhere you use interfaces in Sabab or in WebIntro, if I would say. Let's test this program. I'll give control to Ravi. You can probably test this program. I'll give you the control. Double click on my screen, you have the control. Just execute this program and show me the result. So now I don't have if conditions for that. You can see it's saying passengers are boarding. Type C.
Yeah.
So if tomorrow one more class comes into picture, okay, I don't need to worry about it. The third advantage of interface is reusability. Of methods. Let's have 1000 methods in a plane. See, plane is a very big object. It will have so many functionality like flight, landing, autopilot, gear, take off, take the directions, move the rudder, move the elevator, ailerons, start the engines, stop the engines, activate the TCAS, activate the weather control system, activate the transponder, There are thousands and thousands of methods in a plane. If you develop your plane objects like passenger or cargo, you need to again write all these 1,000 methods in passenger plane class and then write the code, and all the 1,000 methods, 2,000 methods you need to write in the cargo plane class and then write the code. But if you club all the methods in an interface and use the interface in the classes, automatically the methods will come. You just need to put the code inside. That's one more main advantage of using interface. Does that actually help, guys, or do you see there is no use of interface?
Yeah, actually, I have one question. Can we go to that program?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but here, instead of creating interfaces, we can create one more class itself, base class.
Very good, Ravi. Very good. You can do that, but usually the base class, just now I showed you, base class you cannot typecast just like this. When I put the
Okay.
base class equal to child class object, it dumped, right?
No, base class,
Oh, sorry.
we can
Yeah,
we can
you can
assign
put it.
directly.
Yes, yes, we can assign it. But here the base class will have functionality, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes if you miss the assignment, it will call the base class functionality.
Yeah.
But
But I'm
interface
not.
makes it sure that you assign a class to it. That
Okay.
way you avoid the mistakes actually.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there any like in the normally in all OOPS concept they will explain polymorphism only. Is it runtime polymorphism and polymorphism? Is there a difference?
See, polymorphism is of two types. One is the compile time polymorphism. It's called design time polymorphism also, where the
Okay.
program is capable of deciding that which object will be used. Like earlier old example. Here we have a load method, right? So method name is same in both the classes, but here your program before only knows when the type will be P, it will call this. Otherwise, it will call
Oh.
this. That's a
Okay.
design time polymorphism actually.
Oh yeah. 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 Got it.
But here at runtime, when you run the program, then only object will be decided. But earlier the object was decided earlier only.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. So there are a lot of concepts which I am skipping here on OOPS ABAP actually, because OOPS ABAP itself is a very vast topic, and our purpose is not to learn OOPS ABAP here. Our purpose is to learn the bare minimum OOPS ABAP for web thinker.
Right.
So a lot of cases are there actually. I'm not explaining all the cases here. In which case we use interface, in which case we don't, in which case we use abstract class, normal class, all these things. They all comes under designing. When you design a software, when you move into architect role, that time you would actually need these things. Because you will be given a problem statement and you need to, find out the best solution by combining the multiple objects. How you create your classes, how do you arrange them? So we have seen one of the design problem here, object method calls. We had so many if conditions that we solved by using interface. Similarly, again there is a problem here. If you see, object creation is a problem. Again, I have to come and change at least one if condition, right? Here, when a new object comes, let's say a charter plane, I have to come here and change. So still there are 5 if condition in 5 programs which I have to change. So how we can solve this problem? For this purpose, we use a factory design pattern in ABAP. Oops, ABAP, factory design pattern. So there are a lot of design patterns we use. The purpose is not to learn that.
Okay.
Any questions here on this part? Interface, why we use interface?
Anubhav, I'm having one question.
Yes,
That
please go ahead.
through interface, how we are getting multiple and hybrid functionalities?
Okay.
Because actually through it we are getting the only definition part, not the reusability part.
Yes. So we are not, yes, I'm not saying that you are getting that, but inheritance says you
No.
are just reusing the methods, right? That's what inheritance says. If I inherit from class A and B, I get methods of both the classes to C.
Right.
Now, even though you don't write the code in A and B for those methods, anyways the methods will come. That's what inheritance says.
Okay.
Right? I can even keep the method code blank in classes also, right?
Right.
But
Right.
still the method will come. That's the purpose here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same thing will
And for
happen
example,
here.
if
Yeah.
and for example, if A and B both are having the implementation part, and we want to use in C, then through object only we can reuse.
I didn't get your question.
For example, A is having the implementation, means all the methods and its coding is there, and even B is having the all the its properties,
Okay.
means attributes and properties, right? And I want to use both the methods and its attributes in C class.
Okay.
So, so through multiple inheritance is not possible, right? So we can
Yes.
inherit only class A, and
Yes.
if I want to use the class B's property, then for that I need to create another object in class
Okay.
B.
I'll tell
Is
you
it?
exactly how at real time they actually do this kind of stuff. The case which you're telling, that's a very special case. I'll show you how exactly they achieve this case in real time. What they will usually do, they will create an interface at the top. I have some name. Okay. They will put an add method here. Okay. After they put this
Okay.
add method here, they will create two classes like this, A and B. And then they inherit the same interface in both the classes. Okay, like this.
Okay.
And then below this they create another class C, and they will link the C with one of these two. Okay, you link like this. Now what we do in C, here we declare an interface object again, data LO interface. So I can access the A functionality automatically because I'm inheriting from A, right?
Right.
So I get the super, call the method add from the super class. So that's how I access the functionality of A here, right? First of all.
Right.
I want to access functionality of B. So I declare a local interface object and get the object of B. So there will be central classes actually. There is an object creator class. This object creator class will create an object and give it to you in terms of interface. So you need to pass the object type. So I will pass a import parameter equal to I want object of B. So this class will give me object of B typecasted to an interface which I will receive here. So I will call the method here, say object creator class. Give me the object of B class and get this object in LO interface. So now I have the class B object also with me, right? Typecasted to interface. So I can say LO interface. Using this, I can call the add. That's how we consume the functionality actually using interface.
Okay.
So there are a lot of permutation combination. If you see the way you want to arrange your classes, there are a lot of ways. It is a simple, series term which says that if you have two elements, you can have 2 to the power 2 combinations for that. If you have 3 elements, you will have 2 to the power 3 combinations, right?
Right.
So I have here 3 objects, A, B, and C. So I have 2 to the power 3 combinations. So like that, see, it completely depends on your design problem. What your design problem says. Is it a problem creating object? Is it a problem of accessing the functionality? Based on that, you will take a call. So when they started OOPS, They didn't had all these things. All these things came into picture when they actually faced design problems. The different types of inheritance came into picture when they did that. So that's exactly things works. Any other question? Rajesh, any question? You've been very silent in the class.
I'm good.
Okay. So that's about interface and classes. And we have seen a very important concept today. Tomorrow's class, I will explain you association, which is also very, very important concept of OOPS ABAP, or used almost in every SAP application, and we will heavily use that in WebIntro also, association concept. Any question before we wrap today's class?
No questions.
No.
I think you guys had a lot today to digest. So please sit, watch the recording. Okay.